And we are live. What's up, y'all? It's your girl Kiki PYTT coming to you live from the bedroom as usual. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a dope. Okay. So it has been a very long time since I have uploaded a video, and that has been because your girl been real busy. You know, I've been doing a lot of adulting and stuff, and excuse my voice. And it's just been real. It's been a real couple of months for you, girl. But I am here to present you with my lovely presents. So let's get into this video. Today I'm going to, well, first of all, let's get the laser ball part of this video out of the way, because that's quick and simple. So I did record a little bit after session 4, which was last month. And then session 5 was a couple of days ago, and I meant to record that day, but I had to go to work like right after my session, so I didn't have time to really do much of nothing. So there's that. But so the last session, session 5, we're gonna talk about session 4 and 5 together briefly. Session 4 was pretty much the same situation, you know, same little rubber band snap. The hair was, I'd say, about 65–70% hair loss at that point. And then after that, coming into session 5, which was just a couple of days ago, I'd say now I'm probably at like 75% hair loss. So we almost there, honey. We almost there. Now, what I will say though is, now people have been saying in other vlogs that I've seen that the laser gets stronger after each session, and I didn't necessarily notice that so much, but this last session, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty much more painful. It wasn't that bad. Like I said, still wasn't as bad as getting the wax or something, but it was I noticed the laser was a lot more intense than what it's been. And I'm thinking, I don't think it's because the power was turned up on the laser or anything like that. I'm not sure. I didn't even ask. Next session I will ask her if they turn up the intensity on the laser or whatever, but she didn't say anything about turning it up, and I don't, like I said, I don't think she did. I think she already had it up at the highest setting from day 1, session 1, to be honest. But I think the reason why I'm feeling the laser more now than I was in previous sessions is because obviously there's less hair to zap. So when you're not zapping hair, you're zapping skin, and the skin zap, that shit hit different. Let's just be real. Irritation, redness, all that stuff was very minor. Of course, after the session, you know, I did have a little bit of redness, a little bit of irritation. Nothing too major though. I didn't have any like rashes or bumps or anything like that. It was just, you know, sensitive because of the treatment. And obviously, you know, going right to work, and the work that I do, I wear many hats. I got a couple of different jobs, so I ain't even gonna lie. You're like, you're hustling trying to get that money. But the job that I was going to is a physical situation, so of course I was a little bit more tender that day. And then of course, you know, after that I was fine. So now I'm fine. Like I said, I just did my treatment like 2 days ago, literally, and I don't have an irritation or anything like that right now. So everything's all good. Sessions are going really fine, and I'm going to try to be more consistent with my videos, y'all. I apologize. I'm new to this. I don't do this like this. Hello to all of my new subscribers, though. I did notice I picked up some more subscribers, so I don't know where y'all came from, because I ain't been promoting my channel or nothing, honey, but I appreciate it. You know, y'all can share and all this stuff if you want to. Okay, so we got the laser session out the way. So the purpose of today's video, outside of me updating you guys on my lasers, is to do a story time. Yes, finally. So I'm gonna do a quick little story time. Well, I'm gonna try to make it quick. or at least talk until my memory card. And we're back. So yeah, exactly what I said was gonna happen was gonna happen. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try to get my story out before my memory card says it's full and I can't record no more or something like that. And surely enough, my memory card was full, so I have to switch memory cards. So now I have another memory card in and we can continue on. So this is gonna be a really quick story time, or I'm gonna try to make it a little brief. I'm gonna just go ahead and make this part 1 because this particular story time is gonna take more than one part to get through. But for this particular part, I'm gonna make it a generalized situation. So the purpose of this video is going to be telling you guys about my experience working at the United States Postal Service. Now, I worked in 3 different states and 3 different districts, and over a span of years or whatever, off and on. As a matter of fact, right now I'm low-key still working for their ass through a different company, but nonetheless, essentially I'm still working for them. And the thing about that is, I said that I would never go back to the Postal Service, and where I'm at now, low-key, y'all, I'm finna quit that job. They know I'm finna quit too. He came up to me the other day like, please don't quit, please stay. And I'm like, you know, why would you think that? Yeah, you already know what's up. You know what's up. And then too, before I go into the story, where I'm at now is what reminded me to do this video. Cause the United States Postal Service was actually my very first job. That was the very first job that I had. And I was pregnant with my daughter at the time too. Where do we begin with that? So when I first started working for the Postal Service, and just mind y'all, I never had a career position at the Postal Service. As long as I had worked there, I never made it to a career. I almost made it to a career once, and I kind of blew that, and we'll get into, y'all gonna hear the story about all that. I didn't really blow it. It just wasn't meant to be, but you'll understand what happened once I explain. So anyway, it's my first job. When I first started working there, I started off doing the seasonal positions, which is basically the holiday season type of work. They call you in for the holidays and you're the extra help until you're no longer needed or whatever. Usually when they call you for these positions, they can call you anytime between, from what I've seen, they usually hire people between the months of October, which was when I got hired for my more permanent position, and all the way through January. That's pretty much the holiday season. So if you are a temp worker, as in a holiday worker, you would probably work between those months. So that's what I did for the first couple of years off and on that I was working for the Postal Service. Now, mind you, that's my first job. I did not work there that long the very first time, though. I only worked like literally the week of Christmas and maybe up until New Year's. And I just didn't come back after that. And then I came back that was back in 2007. Show you how old I am, honey. Then I think I went back in 2012, maybe. Was it 2012? I think that was 2012. I'm not sure. I'm gonna get my timelines together with that, but like I said, in the beginning it was just seasonal, so I wasn't there that long. I'd do, you know, a couple months at a time and be in and out. When I first came there more permanently was in 2016. That's when I came into the PSC position. Now, the PSC stands for a Postal Support Employee. It is not a permanent position, but it's not so much so temporary either. How the PSC positions go is, well, as the time that I was working there, I don't know if they changed anything now. Probably not, because it ain't been that long since I left, honey, so it's probably still the same. So as a PSC, you work a 360-day Term, you take 5 days off and then you come back for another 360 until they decide to hire you on as a permanent employee. And that's usually how that goes. Why they do it like that, I'm not sure. It doesn't make sense to me, but it's like, whatever. For the most part, you have to work as a PSE for at least 2 years. That's what they say, at least 2 years before you turn over to become a permanent employee. Now, here's the issue with that. That does not always happen, and that's kind of where I got fucked in the game as far as turning over. Because I was actually there from 2016 all the way up until last year, and did not turn over. Now, why? That's a good question, but when I was supposed to turn over, it didn't happen. Now, sidebar, because, you know, we don't get into all that, you know, what occurred and all that stuff. So just once again explaining how the job goes and all that stuff, you know, you get the 360-day term, once you become a permanent employee, obviously you're working every day and all that stuff. My experience with working at the Postal Service, and before I say this video is not, I should have did my disclaimer in the beginning, but whatever. So first of all, I'm not making this video to bash anybody that's working at the Postal Service. I'm not saying that if this is some place that you want to work, you shouldn't work there for whatever reason, because I had this horrible experience, No, I'm not saying that, because at the end of the day, the issues that I had faced there, that can happen at any job. You know, you can have problems like that anywhere and everywhere, and every job is different in terms of the bull crap that you're going to have to endure. But me personally, I did not have a very good experience at the Postal Service, which is why I left, and which is why I'm going to title the video, Why I'll Never Work for Them Again, even though I'm low-key working for them again. Ain't that fun. So anyway, during the time that I worked there as a PSE, I feel like I endured a lot of BS during that time, obviously, because that was the more solid amount of time that I was there. I was able to see a lot, experience a lot, and just realize a lot about this company as a whole and why it functions the way that it does today. And let me be the one to tell you, because I'm not the only person that's made a video like this, but I'm gonna keep it real in a way that other people haven't, because I think the other videos that I've seen that have been on this topic, yeah, they've hit key points about certain shit, but they're not telling you everything, and I feel like it's because they're scared to be blackballed, because they might need, you know, the job at the end of the day. I don't feel like I need the post office at this point. So that's just that. So all in all, we not bashing nobody that still work there, whatever. I still fuck with a lot of my old co-workers. I'm still cool with a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? I have nothing but respect for the actual workers, because those are the ones that deserve the respect and shit. You know, we all work hard as fuck to get this shit out, to make sure that everybody gets their mail, everybody gets their packages and all that shit. And regardless of what you seeing on the news, because you see, and see, that's the thing, that's what made me want to do this video too, because I've been seeing a lot on the news lately how certain postal services have been having hella issues. You know what I'm saying? They've been really short-staffed, which that was a problem when I was working there, and it's even more of a problem now because of COVID and all that stuff. You have people that are being severely overworked, which was another problem I was having. You know what I'm saying? You got people that are doing the jobs of 4 or 5 people, and it's one person. You know what I'm saying? And then after a couple of months of doing that, day in, day out, you end up hurting yourself, or something happened. You know what I'm saying? And management, everything, it's just so much, y'all. It's just so much. I came into this video incorrectly, because I need to be more organized with this, because I'm telling you, there's so much shit that happened you wouldn't believe. And I'm trying to make it make sense so that y'all understand. When you see these articles on the news and when you see them hiring back to back, you understand why and what the problem really is. So, saying all that to say, let me say this. So, boom, 3 different states. I worked in Illinois, I worked in Indiana, and I worked out in Maryland for the Postal Service. Specifically Chicago District, the Greater Indiana District, which would be Gary, Indiana, and Baltimore, Maryland. So I worked at all 3 of those districts. And consistently in all 3 of those districts, I saw the same type of foolery as far as management. Now, management is going to come up a lot in these videos because management is the biggest problem. Management is the biggest problem at the Postal Service. You have, I would say, a good 90% of the people that are in management positions at the Postal Service are people that have no experience with managing. They have no background in management. They got those positions because they injured themselves so severely that the post office, instead of letting them go and paying them for being injured, they'd rather keep them on, hired and employed, in light duty services. And what is a light duty service? Management. Because in a management position, you're not working on the floor with the employees. You're managing them. You don't have to do a lot of moving around. You're not lifting anything. You're not pushing anything. You're not dealing with heavy equipment and all that stuff. You're directing people and managing them that are doing that stuff. So I guess that's their concept with that, which is fine. But the problem with that is when you hire someone as a manager that does not have management experience, you see what I'm saying? You see how a lot of shit can go wrong with that? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. It don't work like that. As far as the Postal Service always saying that they're short-staffed and they don't have enough workers and all this and they're always hiring. Here's the thing, y'all. Here's the lowdown on that shit, right? That's a bunch of bullshit. They can hire more people anytime they want to, but they don't. They don't. You know why? Because management is greedy. They don't want to lower their salaries and their extra bonus pays to hire a couple of people. And when they do hire people, they hire people that they know are going to be temporary. They hire people that they're not expecting to stay for a long time. They hire the people that are not going to work. That's the problem. That's straight up what it is. And what they'll do is, instead of hiring more people that they need so that they're not short-staffed, because they'd rather, like I said, have money for themselves and not pay their workers and hire more people in. Because if I hire more people in, now I gotta pay more people. That's taking money out of my budget. I don't want to do that. So instead, I'm going to keep these same 5 employees that I have that I'm overworking 5, 6, 7 days a week, 12, 14 hours a day, or whatever the case is, because that's a thing. It does happen. You see what I'm saying? Like that's what they do. Instead of them hiring more people into their company, they'll outsource. They'll outsource. They'll go to other little side companies, side logistics companies, and pay them, because it's cheaper to pay them to hire their employees to work for them and get the mail out that way. And see, I know that that's what they do because I'm doing this shit right now. I just got hired for a logistics company. I'm not going to say the name of it or nothing like that, but I just got hired for a logistics company that works for the Postal Service, essentially. Like, I literally had to fill out a post office application and all that shit as if I was applying for the post office. I had to get my fingerprints did and all that shit, just like how they do. I had to get postal clearance to work for this company. Bitch, you're back at the damn post office, sis. Now, granted, where I'm at now, I'm getting paid more money than what I would be if I was at the Postal Service, which is another issue that I have. It's like, why do I have to go outside of the post office to make more money working for the post office? Because if I would work for the post office directly, I would be making way less than what I make right now. And I have an issue with that because, like I said, you know, when you work for a place for years and then you go outside, you know, and you see the grass greener on the other side and it's way greener and flush and flourishing and shit, and you're like, what the fuck is this? I was getting fed breadcrumbs all this time. You know what I'm saying? So it's that for me. So I will definitely say that I feel like postal workers are definitely underpaid and underrated like a motherfucker, especially the PSCs. The PSCs are definitely underpaid and over fucking worked to the core. And then there's the culture of the Postal Service. The culture of the Postal Service is very hostile from this is my personal experience, okay? Your experience might be different. It might be a little bit similar. It might be exactly the same. I don't know. But in my experience, it was extremely hostile. Now, from the very first time I worked there, it was very hostile. The very first time I worked there when I was 17, the lady in management actually said, you know, we don't care about our workers, like, you know, they just see you as a number. They don't really care about y'all like that, you know, but just, you know, you want to get your money, so just do the best you can and do your thing. Do the best you can. Like, that's the slogan of the post office for me, y'all. Because these motherfuckers used to tell me that shit all the time for any situation. Any situation. Just do the best you can, baby. Like, I swear, like, that should be their fucking slogan. Because that's all the motherfuckers used to tell me all the time. And even back then, and I remember she said that specifically. And I would hear those words throughout my entire career at the Postal Service. Funny shit. So, but yeah, it was very hostile. Very, very hostile. The most hostile environment was Chicago District, hands down. If I'm gonna rank from the worst to the less worst, or that's the worst or whatever, the most hostile environment was definitely Chicago District. Chicago District, I ain't gonna lie, like, they ran me the fuck up out of there. They ran me the fuck up out of there. That is how I ended up in Baltimore. I transferred halfway across the fucking country. That's how pissed and fed up I was with Chicago District and all the stuff that they had taken me through. I mean, it was horrible, y'all. Like, bullying is real. Adult bullying is real. And I will say, I didn't recognize it as that back then at the time, but I was very much so bullied, I think. Or at least they tried to bully me. And it got to a point where it just became very mentally stressful for me and overwhelming, the amount of attacks that were coming my way. I mean, y'all, it got to a point, like, I actually resigned multiple times from Chicago District. Resigned. The union lady begged me to come back. I came back. Resigned again, left and went out to Baltimore. Baltimore was horrible because it was just all type of shit going on, y'all. Like, when I transferred out to Baltimore, first of all, that's why there's gonna be a multiple part video. There's gonna be more than one video because I gotta go in depth with shit, but I'm just trying to briefly skim over shit. But when I went out to Baltimore, y'all, I worked there for like 2-3 months. And these motherfuckers did not pay me because they said that I wasn't in the system. Like, I had to wait months after I stopped working there because I couldn't make it to work anymore because I wasn't getting paid and I didn't have any fucking gas to make it back and forth. Literally months, y'all. Like, I stopped working there the week after Christmas, I want to say, the week of Christmas. Because like I said, I couldn't come back because, you know, how was I going to make it to work? And I don't have any damn money. I didn't get paid until fucking March or April of the next year. No fucking lie, y'all. No fucking lie. Like, they told, this is the excuse. They were like, when we got your information and they didn't transfer your paperwork over from the other district out in Chicago, so you're still in the system out there, and we can't put your time in over here because you're still in the system out there. So you have to get in contact with Chicago district and have them send your resignation form and like straight foolery, right? So I had to go through a whole process of calling over here, calling over there, calling these people, calling them people. I called the postmasters, everybody, to get all this shit straightened out. And that was a big ass headache. I mean, it ruined my life at that point in time, because obviously while all this is going on, I still got bills to pay, I still have life to live, I still got to eat and all that shit. I still got to figure out where I'm going to get money from until then. So that was fun. So boom, all that shit happened. I ended up not being able to maintain my lifestyle out in Maryland, so I had to come back to Illinois. And okay, I don't know if y'all heard him. I guess he mad because I'm doing a video. He's like, bitch, I'm trying to sleep. I wish you would hurry up. But anyway, moved back to Illinois. Mind you, I already decided that I would never come back to Chicago district again because all the shit that had happened there, and they basically sabotaged my chances of being successful in another state. So why the fuck would I go back there? And they probably would blackball me anyway and not hire me back. And if they did, they're gonna put me right back where I was, where I was having problems, obviously, because that's how they work. Then I applied for Gary, Indiana, and I ended up getting that position as a PSC out there. Now that position did not last long at all, y'all. It was a couple of months as well, and I think that time, for me, I was already so over the Postal Service that I really didn't give a fuck anymore. Like, I was coming to work doing my job, but then when I started seeing it was the same setup, the same attitude with management, the same bullshit, basically, it was like, yeah, I ain't with that shit. Y'all, you're looking at somebody that I actually passionately wanted to work for the Postal Service. I knew in my heart and soul that this was going to be the place I retired from. My mom actually retired from there, and I should have learned from her experiences. You know, she got some experiences too. I mean, well, she was there for 30-something years, so of course she got stories she can tell all day, every day, probably better than me. But there's that. So, you know, I was really passionate about it. I really wanted to do it. I thought that was it or whatever like that, and that just wasn't the case. And it's not the case. So back to my experience in Gary. So Gary actually wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad with management, I would say. There were two people in management that I had an issue with, or had an issue with me rather, in the Gary plant or whatever. But the problem at the Gary plant was more with the older employees. So that's another point that I want to make, y'all. I don't know how long I've been talking. I'm going to do a lot of editing with this video because I know I've been talking a lot and this certain shit. You ain't got to really put that in there. But this part going to go in there. So here's the thing. And this wasn't just at Gary, but it was really bad at the Gary plant. When you work for the Postal Service, and this is my experience specifically working with the Postal Service, I noticed that a lot of the older employees are very hostile. They're very hostile towards the younger employees, specifically with the women, the older women. And I don't know if it's an older woman thing where, you know, you see the younger women come in and you automatically want to envy them and hate on them and make their job harder and miserable and do whatever you can to go out of your way to make someone else's day not as pleasant. I've never understood that. It seemed like a lot of the older employees aren't really helpful towards you. Like, if you, okay, so perfect example. When I very first started working there, and this is back in the Chicago district, when I first started working there, the training was kind of crappy. I mean, the training is always kind of crappy. I mean, you know, they make you sit there and watch videos and, you know, all this stuff. And then when you get out there on the actual floor, it kind of feels like a whole different ball game from what you saw in the videos. I mean, you know, the videos show you what equipment you're going to be working with and all that. But when you get out there, there are a lot more hazards and things that you should know that they don't necessarily give you in training. Or if you need help with something, where the elders are supposed to be more helpful, they're not. They're like, oh, you just got to figure it out. You know, that's what I had to do. I just had to figure it out. Nobody helped me. Like, that's the attitude that a lot of the older people gave, in my opinion. It was like, oh, well, I had it hard, so I'm not going to make it easy for you. And it's like, sis, I just need help pushing this BMC. Like, I just need help lifting this box. Like, why are you being a bitch? Why are you being a dick? I don't understand. So it would be stuff like that. And then like little nitpicky shit that they would do. And of course the high school shenanigans. You know, you got people gossiping, talking about you, talking about your hair or your nails or whatever, your lashes too long, or oh, she thinks she cute, or he think he this and that. Like, it was just too much high school shenanigan type of stuff. And it would always be the older people. It would never be people in my age group or younger. And that's what I found funny. It was like, why are y'all like that? And then you get the older person that's mad that they can't retire yet because they grandkids are still in their house because they kids ain't shit. And they ain't working or doing shit. So you got to take care of your grandkids and your kids, and they still living in your house. And you see somebody like me, that's your kid.